Mario Kart 7!
Heyo, Flame here, and welcome to the final FlameHisWorld commentary of 2018. This is Mario Kart 7 for the Nintendo 3DS, and I'm going to get straight into things here. I'm going to be playing live, because as we know, whenever I play live on Mario Kart, interesting things happen. I've done this a few times before. It's ended about as well each time, but you know what? Can't help but want to give it a go. So let's get into 150cc here. And this game actually has a few extra characters that they brought in, like Honey Queen here from Galaxy. I think she was called something else in Galaxy and they changed her name here, I'm not sure. There's also Wiggler and Lakitu with a different colour shell to the Lakitu that rescues you, I believe. There's also Metal Mario, but I'm going to be playing as Bowser in true form. And I think I'm going to stick with default stuff, at least for now. I might get a bit more experimental later down the line, but we'll see. And first up is the Mushroom Cup, so let's get into it now. Okay, so I should say it has actually been a little while now since I've played Mario Kart 7. It's not like years and years since it came out. I actually recorded a non-commentary run this game a few months ago for FC playthroughs, but I haven't done a practice run, so that's my excuse now for when the dumb fuck idiot CPUs inevitably completely annihilate me. But yeah, well, I made a point of going through the extra characters that this game added before we started, because this was one of the things that I know there's a bit of disappointment with among certain people playing the game. Good job, me. But yeah, because they took Waluigi out, and I think there were a couple of other characters that came out. Like I think Dry Bones was another one that got taken out, if I recall correctly. And people sort of thought characters like Lakitu and fucking the Queen Bee weren't really the most satisfying replacements for them. Like, granted, that's not much of an issue for me as someone who almost exclusively plays Bowser. But you know, I kind of get it, and Waluigi in particular, I know he's a popular character, and I know it's kind of an irony thing for a lot of people, but I also get the appeal. And yeah, I've been getting really lucky with items on this first, track here. Like, Jesus Christ, you might have just seen I got 2 stars in a row. Like, as soon as one ended, I got another one. I've got a thing coming for me, so let's spam that. And yeah. See, even the fucking Tanuki tail thing, I got at one of the very rare cases, one of the very rare situations where the Tanuki tail is actually useful. Because I will say, it's not an item I'm usually a fan of. Oh, I might. Oh, I got the bananas. Okay, I have realised I'm being a jammy bastard right now with perfect item timing. I also realise that won't last, so I'm going to just enjoy this while I can. And there we go, I got the first place off the bat. So yeah, I will say this game does have not excessively long load screens, but I will be trimming them down as and when I can just to keep the playthrough going. This particular track, I actually kind of like it. This is the one that it feels like they put in to train you to use the flying items, which that's something new for this game. Actually, good start, mate. But yeah, I know it feels weird going back to this game after playing 8 and getting used to all the extra mechanics in 8, but no, things like the flying mechanic and also we'll see the underwater mechanic, they both originated here. This game's reception actually, while I'm doing the obligatory setup stuff that I tend to do with LPs, I remember it being a bit mixed, and I seem to recall this coming out roughly like early on in the 3DS's lifespan. And I also remember the 3DS didn't actually start off that successfully. It ended up becoming a successful console later in the generation, but when it first came out, I feel like it was kind of overpriced and a lot of people didn't pick it up. To the point where when they inevitably dropped the price because no one was buying the thing, they actually did a bit of a giveaway with like a few free virtual console games for people who bought it early. I didn't get those. I didn't actually get a 3DS until a fair bit later because I was one of those people who wasn't in any rush to get one. But yeah, I remember around the time this came out, it was surprisingly quiet for a Mario Kart game. Mario Kart usually being one of the series that just everyone's talking about for weeks before and weeks after. No, this seemed to have a bit of a quiet fanfare to it, which is unusual for Mario Kart. I remember like back when Mario Kart Wii came out, and there was a lot of excitement about like the online and whatnot. And later down the line, on like during the Wii U era when 8 was coming out, that was something a lot of people were excited about. Fuck off, Blue Shell. But this one, it just didn't really have the same fuss. Maybe I missed it. That is always a possibility with this kind of thing. Maybe I just wasn't browsing the right places. Maybe I wasn't just talking to the right people who were like really excited for a handheld Mario Kart. But no, this one seemed to not be quite as well received. And honestly, I should give my opinion off the bat here, given we're still kind of early days. But I like this game. It's not the most exciting Mario Kart out there. I much prefer 8, but this one, for what it is, it's still pretty fun. It's fixed up a lot of the control issues I had with things like, say, Double Dash and DS and whatnot. So yeah, expect me to like this game a fair bit in this playthrough. But yeah, let's go on to the next track. And Cheap Cheap Cape. This is one that had its name changed from the US release, which is a thing that happens with quite a few courses in this game, oddly enough. I can't remember exactly what it was in the US version. I think it might have been Cheap Cheap Lagoon that they changed it to Cheap Cheap Cape. There's a few of these weird little changes, which I really don't get. Like, it's not a problem, it doesn't matter, but I think, you know, we know what a lagoon is over here. So, like, why bother changing the thing? And there's some other ones as well. Like, obviously, everyone knows Melody Motorway was just Music Park, and there's a few others as well. But, like, why? I don't get it, game. Why? But yeah, here we get an introduction to the underwater sections, which they're not bad. They're just sort of there. I suppose it's just a thing they brought in to allow them to have more track variety. Because, you know, it's one thing to have just basic loop-de-loop tracks in these different exciting, colourful locations, but if you can then go underwater and you've also got places where you can fly far above the track and that, it's a bit of an extra dimension to the kind of things. And I suppose it's similar kind of approach to what All Stars Racing Transform was doing, like Sonic Racer, in that also had boats, although that was going on top of the water, like say Hydro Thunder, rather than actually going through it, which, you know, it's just different ways of approaching it. Although the air sections, they're pretty similar, all things considered. God, the fucking lightning bolt is such a boner killer when you get in the groove going. As this is a handheld Mario Kart with 2 screens, the ink attack does absolutely nothing. Because if you notice over there on the bottom screen, it doesn't actually black that out. So like, you can still just sort of glance down at the other screen and the hazards, you sort of know where everything is anyway, so that really doesn't do anything at all to you. And here we have Shy Guy Bazaar. And this track, it actually took me embarrassingly long to figure out what this is a nod to. What I mean by that is, when I first played this, and for years and years of playing this, I just thought, you know what, it's an Arabian Nights level, and they're just using that as theming. That's kind of cool, you know, I've always liked the track, but I sort of just took it at face value what it is. But after playing Mario 2 recently, I'm starting to notice that this is a nod to that game. Because obviously that game, and I'm not going to patronise everyone with the backstory, but you know, it's based on Doki Doki Panic, and it has environments like this. And even to the points where you got these jars, which are reminiscent of the little jars that you would go down in certain levels and get chased by that creepy mask thing. So yeah, it seems very much like a Conscious Mario 2 reference, which I kind of like that game actually. I never beat it for the longest time. It was only recently that I felt like, you know what, I've never beat this game. I'm going to play it all the way through and I'm going to get a feel for it properly. And you know what? I might not be the biggest Mario platformer guy out there, but it was fun. It's very bizarre. Like, it does show a mile off that it's kind of adapted from another series rather than being a native Mario game, but still, what's there works. And also, like, that brought in the concept of having multiple characters in Mario who control differently. And so if you're playing through the game and you start thinking like, okay, this level's got some big jumps, and there's like some levels that by jumping over certain things you can skip parts of the level and whatnot. And so you kind of got that strategy of thinking, okay, I can use Luigi here and use these further jump. Or I can use Princess Toadstool and break the fucking game by flying over everything. Man, I'm not doing too well in this race, I gotta say. This is kind of getting me back for getting so fucking jammy in the first track. I'll bet you that's what it is. Yeah, I also really like this kind of market area. What's coming to my mind? This is a thing that I never fucking ever expected myself to be recalling from memory, but one of the areas from Kingdom Hearts, the Agrabah area. It reminds me of that. Granted, I've never actually played that series at all. I just follow so many people who talk about those games all the fucking time that I kind of have so much of that series just ingrained in my memory. And like, maybe one day I'll play it. I actually have the HD ports that I've sort of got on the cheap a while back, thinking, you know what, I'll play this eventually, so maybe next year will be the year that I actually get around to playing the fucking things, but we'll see. And there we go, I am the winner here, so let's go to the results ceremony. And this is the same thing each time, so, you know, don't expect too much exciting commentary from me when these parts come on, but, you know, it's the same kind of thing with every Mario Kart game. You know, you just got your rewarding little let's do a victory lap around the track kind of deal. But I get to see my boy Bowser doing his happy animation, so it works for me, you know. But ladies and gentlemen, join me next time where we'll be going through some more races in Mario Kart 7. See you then.